Come on in, beloveds. Come on in. We're not going to be here long tonight. Hello. Thanks for coming in, guys. I hope you all can hear me. Miss Kissa had to do some things, so she and I will reschedule for a different time, a different day. I also have a few other people that we are going to be interviewing over the next few weeks, people that I look up to and I admire, and people that I actually know. So I'm really excited about that. And there's even a gentleman that I just met through Mike and Corey that I'm really interested in doing an interview with him as well. So I just want to give it maybe one more minute to let any and everybody come in. Now, when you comment, because you're not on this live stream, the StreamYard with me, it's going to have like just a generic name, Facebook user. So put your name before the comment so I can copy and paste it. So when I post it to other social media, people can see who you are, if that's okay, and that I'm interacting with you. But so Kissa and I were really going to talk about how, marriage is the myth behind marriage, because she had made a post how the myth in Junction City is, you marry a soldier and you made it. And being that my mom has run a law office my entire life, well, since I was 13, she's been like in the law office. And we were huge on doing bankruptcies and divorces. So, that evidently was a myth. But not only that, I seen it from a child's view as well. Because a lot of the girls in our school, because I'm from a military town, they dated soldiers. So to me, I look at that almost like an R. Kelly effect, because he's going to jail for the exact, I don't know, he's going to jail for, having, I guess, sex or sexual relations with underage girls. And when I was going to high school, many of those underage girls were pregnant by soldiers. And it was commended, it was preferred that they get pregnant by that soldier and being taken care of, opposed to having gotten pregnant by one of the thugs. So, hey, Chalo. Hey, Ill Will. Wow, that's so real. Ill Will. I went to high school with Ill Will, and he knows there were a lot of Chesters and BDUs picking up high school girls. Ill Will, I first noticed it in middle school, where I remember one of my friends, we got a ride from one of them, and I'm thinking in my head, like, she don't have no daddy. Who is this dude? You know, um, that was in middle school. And that's when they actually called it junior high, because right when we went to middle school, they had changed it from ninth grade being in middle school. So I think those soldiers were still used to coming for the ninth graders, but it was only sixth, seventh, and eighth. But I remember, yeah, it's very crazy. I remember seeing them. And so in high school, when I met you, Ill Will, and I met Pepe, um, and Chris, they were coiled around our high school like a cobra ready to strike. Like, that's, if you got pregnant, if you dealt with the thug, you were looked down upon. I just happened to luck up and, hey family, I just happened to luck up and have y'all in my life. Not everyone had Kevin. Not everyone had Willard, a Pepe, a Chris, Ill Will. You know what I mean? Billy. Not every girl had that. I was blessed to have that, because when I didn't have y'all and I wasn't around y'all, especially the older I got and I would be around other girls and men, it was a whole different dynamic. And it's like, I got to be on my A game. I can't have fun and get drunk and pass out and y'all make sure don't nobody touch me. I'm in the corner vomiting, stupid things kids do. That was no more. And so, like, not everyone had that. I remember getting out of high school. Okay, so I was in ROTC. Yeah, it was an R. Kelly effect. I was in, and he would have had a field day in our high school in Junction City, Kansas in the 90s. Hey, as long as he could take care of you. And I don't think it was because our parents were bad. They're just like, hey, if you're going to do it, I'd rather you do it with somebody that's going to take care of you. Like, when Billy, Kevin, and Willard would show up to my house, my mom knew I was safe. She'd be like, whew, it was almost like relief. And that wasn't any type of sexual relationship. Ill Will, you were over my house plenty of times. It was a relief. And I think many times families felt that way. A soldier, that they're going to physically protect your child, right? That's what you're thinking in your mind. But let's be real here. These are 23, 24-year-old men. These are 16-year-old girls, 15-year-old girls. And now these girls are looking like when you have to admit, I looked 15. I was so dumb. Like, there was no doubt these girls were not grown in my high school. I don't care how thick they were, So these days, it's off the chain. Back then, the age to join the military was much lower. And that's the thing. Like, so the soldiers, I'm telling you, is just, I was able to be blessed with the people in my life, because I'm no angel, I say I got a lot of childhood trauma, but I was a damn beast too. I know my mom was like, what the hell do I do with this one? So when I was up on post, because when I was growing up, there was no Junction City and Fort Riley. You could go right up to Fort Riley. Now they have it gated off. Back then we ran all through the barracks. Like, I'm no angel, yeah, our house was always warm in the winter. Mama kept 20 boxes of cereal for us and 4 gallons of milk, right? And so I would go up on post and be up in the barracks, and I was blessed to be around 19 and 20-year-old soldiers that we're all like, how the hell we gonna get some beer? Because none of us are of age, and I happened to have the connect behind my house, Corey Poe's family. I could get any kind of drink you wanted, or hit up Ill Will. I don't know how you had the connect, and you were your family was military, so. But not everybody got that. I'm talking about my ROTC major, or whatever she was. She was 16. Her man had like a Saab or Mercedes. He wasn't no E1. He wasn't no E2. And he would pick her up straight off the steps. Because, see, we could smoke They started making us smoke and stop from the commons area and go across the street to smoke cigarettes. It was crazy in the 90s. But that soldier would be right there waiting. 24-year-old man ain't got nothing to do with no 16-year-old girl. I don't care how bad she is. But it's like it was a collective because no one called child services. And her family, she was a military student as well. You see, she was a military brat. She's traveled every 4 years. So, R. Kelly would have had a field day in our school. And it shows you the collective, our mental collective, how we're coming up out of that. Because when my grandmother was growing up, that's what you did in in what was it, life on the prairie. You 16, 17, you got married. But these days, what's going on is, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I can't even describe it. I feel really bad for these kids. Like this R. Kelly situation, what he did was wrong, but those girls were already doing that. That's what they were groomed up to do and to be. So it's like, I know a lot of girls that got married out of high school or got married in high school. And I only know a few of them that are still married to that person, or they went through hell and high water every 4 years traveling around, him being gone, doing this, doing that, or her being gone. When I was growing up, it was you married to get that BAQ, or whatever it's called, and you could have separate houses, separate rooms, all that. And now it's like we've made the kids more like children to a certain extent. If it's a heterosexual relationship, we treat them like children. If it's LBG, QT relationship, then we're all for them doing whatever to their bodies to honor that. And so I'm just really confused about the whole situation, because I have nieces and nephews. And my brother is a very gorgeous, handsome man. But I remember Mama having to go get him from, hey, Grid. I remember Mama had to go get my brother from a grown woman's house. This would be grinning and shit coming out like, Mama like, oh, hell no, you got my baby in there. That's the same thing because that traumatizes boys, that makes them over sexualized. It's really sad. It's really sad. Hey, Grid, you make a good point. Um, mm, I think the uniform and the benefits first and foremost, because when I was growing up, and I ain't gonna lie, I had this soldier, I was 17. It was right before I just went all to hell. I was about 16 and he was 19. He couldn't even get liquor or anything. And he looks just like my son's father. He was just my height. And he really liked me. And but I wanted a street guy. And my son's father wasn't even a street guy, but he wasn't a military guy. He was supposed to do basketball. So but he looked just like him. And I chose, and I remember sitting there thinking I could travel every 4 years. I would get hella benefits. I would get first dibs on jobs. I might even be able to join the Coast Guards because that's really what I wanted to do. And I tried to when I was pregnant, but they laughed me out of the office because I was fucking huge. But I still chose my heart because I had known my son's father since I was like 12. And that was a journey. And every day I think about what my life would have been if I would have chose that route, because they look damn near just alike anyway. He was just my height. But the older, because I'm like, damn, the shit I went through with my son's father, like I wouldn't have had to go through with a soldier. Like my mom, shit, you could call soldiers, first sergeant, you're getting paid. Done. You can get him out your house. You have so much weight when you are that spouse. And when you have a parent like mine who taught herself law and then did the paralegal thing and then has run all office since I was 13 and catered to military because they paid, you know everything you can do. And there wasn't one day that I didn't think like, damn, what my life would have been like. But keep in mind, I was 15, 16, he was 19. And I never had sex with him. Like, I was blessed to be able to have stand-up people in my life. Like, there was this one soldier that I was actively trying to pursue. And I was 16. I had me and my friend Reese. He took us to a carnival. And, I'm silly now, so just imagine me at 16. And he looked through my purse and he seen my ID. And when I got in the car, he dropped us off and he was like, "You're not 19." I was like, "What are you talking about?" He threw my ID in my face. I was like, wow. It's like, I can't do this. That's a stand-up ass man. And I pray that he got through his time in the military. I hope he's retired right now doing what he has to do. However, I can't really knock a man if he really wants to take a young girl under his wing and get her out of a messed up situation and take care of her for the rest of her life, because there are people that has happened to. There are 16-year-old girls who got in relationships with 18, 19, 20-year-old men and were taken care of for the rest of their life. So I hope that answered your question, Nina, but I know it's the benefits first and foremost. And then maybe the BDUs were not attractive growing up. Not to me. I mean, they are now. The ACUs are dope. But if anything, girls were attracted to the thugs because of the look. But the soldiers, definitely the money. You got to drive their cars. And oh, man. And when I was growing up, Junction City was live. We had everybody from Kansas City, Detroit, Chicago. So you have all of the military that made it out of the city. Because see, growing up, if you got in trouble, you had the option, you go to prison or military. A real one is like, I'm already a natural born killer, and I'm not commending that. But growing up, when you was already in the streets, why go and be locked up in a box? So they went into the military. They got out and then they sent for their people. And so Junction City was just, you had every race and every socioeconomic sector or, category you could think of. Like, you could live in a trailer and be around it's like a melting pot there. And so you had it all, but the benefits, I think, Mama, I don't know, how was it, Mama? Like, you get $1,000 extra just for marrying a soldier? Today, those are pedophiles. Yeah. As far as R. Kelly, he had an entire team of individuals that made his behavior possible. And that's the thing. We have to take accountability. Where's the self-love? Like, how are you as a parent deliberately allowing somebody just to piss on your child? Like there is this one rapper, they call him South Park Mexican, got like 70 years for getting a 13-year-old pregnant. True indeed. How the hell you didn't know she was 13? But why in the hell was she a stripper in the club for 3-4 months? It's 13. She probably started as 12. So there is so much more. It's like so many people are involved in that, and the damage that it does to these girls is just crazy. You have girls that are psychologically damaged because no child, no 16, 15-year-old girl who needs to have sex with no 30-some-year-old man. Like, I've seen it my entire life. And that it didn't get disgusting until they were like in their mid 30s, 40s. But if they were in their 20s, it was acceptable. And I get the logic in it, because it's all about stability, especially military men. Some of them would prefer their daughter go with a military man. And if he happened to be 3 or 4 years older, I still don't see the logic in it, but I get it. I don't respect it, but I understand it. Because, you got to understand it. No one called child services at my high school, y'all. I mean, cruise spots, they were coiled around our high school. No one called protective services. No principal. If the principal would have called them, then police would have been there quicker than you could say go. Right? No one did. So it was a collective thing. That's why I'm not bashing the parents. Now, with this R. Kelly thing, I haven't really got into it, but all I know is that he would have had a field day. He would have done the Macarena, the cha-cha-cha, the snake. He would have had a field day in there. All I got to do is take care of you. Everybody's cool. It's the collective mind. We're all shifting and wanting more for our daughters and our sons, because you cannot say boys don't get traumatized too. They do. They're just as traumatized as girls, but I didn't see female soldiers out there for the boys. But now for the men, y'all homeboys that I had, yeah, there were women after you, but they were high school hall monitors, or if the boys were selling weed or whatever, the older woman, like say one of our mothers, wasn't my mom, everybody loved my mom. She was the cool lawyer mom who bumped Tupac when she would pick them up walking. It's crazy. But many of y'all, like I had friends, that would come over and see me, and then all of a sudden be like, we got to go see Miss, I'm not going to put names out there, or Miss. And we're like our high school monitor, or why are you? So we were 15, 16 years old, and my homeboys is going over this 40-year-old woman's house, chilling. She braiding their hair, cooking, and we like, what, at the time I'm thinking, oh, she's just really cool. Everybody looks up to her. She was doing things with those boys. They 15, 16 years old. Boys go through it too. Men go through it too. And we're supposed to just turn a blind eye to it. But it does have a lot to do with how they perceive women later on. And if it's a man that gets to them, many times that can make them bisexual or just full out gay, and that's their whole life. But there's cause and effect to everything. And I know I had a lot of male friends that were 15, 16-year-old going over 30 and 40-year-old women's houses. They weren't military. Maybe their husbands were. These were Junction City women, though. So I've seen it all. And no one cared. No, that's the thing. It had to be a collective consciousness. That's why I'm not bashing the parents. I'm bashing the parents more on the R. Kelly situation, because y'all acting like, oh, we didn't. Everyone was complacent. It makes me think with that situation, someone did. Every dog has its day. You wasn't going to have that Me Too movement and we lock up all these other people and not get you, R. Kelly, and you kind of you sprinkling your pee on people. You got to go. And I'm hearing that one of them's getting married to him. I don't know. I try to stay out the news because the energy is so negative. But R. Kelly would have had a field day in my school. Yeah, our young high school. What was this? Our young high school females all gone. Yeah, they were all gone. I knew about 6 or 7. And it was like, I even had one. I knew a girl who was about 16, got pregnant by a 22-year-old drug dealer in Junction City. They locked his ass up. They locked him up, even though her and him had been dating on and off, for years. But once he got over a certain amount of time and he got her pregnant, it was a done deal. But he was a thug. He wasn't a soldier. Them soldiers, Let me tell you, I knew a girl who was a grown woman, but she was so tiny and skinny and frail. She looked like a young girl. And she had some sexual escapade with soldiers, and they did not give her the money that she had agreed to prior to her services. She had her aunt call them and let the military soldiers know, my niece is only 17 years old, and I'm going to call the police if you do not give us what we're asking for. Them soldiers met that woman so quick to give her money. I'm not going to put her name out there, but anybody know Junction City know the devilish women in our town. But when they were military, you could get any and everything you wanted. And that's why my mom was called the child support queen. Them women knew. My You go to Miss Rosemarie and she's going to get you that money. If he's a soldier, he's traceable. We can anchor into his ass. And but when you're playing with, when you're military, you're only here for 4 years. Very rarely are you here longer than that. So, shit, after 4 years, you could disappear with the wind, but if you know who he is, who his first sergeant is or ever was, you're going to be taken care of. It's just that with that came benefits and help. With these girls today doing that with R. Kelly, what would be the benefit? Well, I'm pretty sure those girls were benefited. I'm pretty sure those parents were benefited. So you have to know that the type of people he was dealing with, very emotional type of people. Oh no, you gonna give me my money. That had to do with money, because we know he's been pissing on little girls for 20 years. I'm surprised someone didn't take out justice on him on their own. When you're emotional and your child, your sister, your uncle, whoever is really the victim, you ain't just walking in. We're talking about Chicago people. Like, that's a whole different area. The mindset is different. You're not just going to sit up here and just keep raping little girls. And it's more than that. And that's why I wanted to get on here tonight and just talk about how I know it was more than that, because it was more than that in my high school in the 90s. I was supposed to graduate in 97. I got kicked out in 96 and decided to get my GED in 98. But I seen them. Those soldiers were coiled around our school and no one said a damn thing. And there were many girls that had their lives ruined by them soldiers who were actually married and their wife was in the military. Like, see, when I was 13, 14, 15, before I could legally work and get paid, my mom was like, I could get tattoos on my ass as long as I didn't come home with a baby. All my tattoos, they're really old because I had them from when I was 13, 14 to 15. You could kick it and do whatever with Billy, Kevin, and Willard. Y'all could come here, eat up all the food. You could get tattoos. Don't bring babies in my house. But she made me work, and I worked for free. I volunteered for Red Cross, and I worked in the HIV lab up on Fort Riley, and it blew my mind to see what soldiers had AIDS in there. I was in the pathology lab just churning these valves to see the blood and shit and separate, and then you type in the information. See, that was in the 90s. I was a file clerk. Like, there was like literal files you put in. It wasn't on the computer, so I had to type that shit in, and that blew my brain away. I'm like, all my friends are having sex with these soldiers. Like, we would have parties up on Fort Riley. Do y'all understand me? Like, in the barracks. Man, it's sad. Protect your kids. Protect your kids. Because these kids that are in the military now, they're not people in the military because they know what it's like to have a hard life, and so the judge gave them a chance to live. They're soft now. They can't have no felonies to get in there. And now, I'm not saying people with felonies are better, but when you give a person a chance to live, they appreciate that. And many times you would have people in the military that just needed, hey, to get the hell out of that city. Now you don't have that. These people get into the military are whack. They're not the same. And our kids are not protected as they were when we were in high school. Kids didn't have rights back then. No. And today you're right, they do have more rights, and that's why it's also, and the thing is that these predators are becoming more cunning and more smart with how they're doing shit. And when they're only 18, 19 years old and they're not even developed like a grown man, you thinking they in high school with your children, and they're not. Soldiers are allowed to serve with AIDS. That's the thing. I don't know how long they were able to stay in, but every lab, if you go to every hospital on any fort, they all have an HIV pathology lab. People get AIDS all the time. And then they have dependents that have to go to them hospitals and they get AIDS. It blew my brain. I learned so much. Who was I under, Mama? General Williams? Because you remember there was a black woman that was top tier up there. I mean, I love Junction City. I love just the places and opportunities that I got because my mom was in my ass like that, because that also helped me be serious about abstinence. When it's easy for me to cut it on and off, because when you see shit like that, it was crazy. So yeah, I don't know how long you're able to stay in there having AIDS, because wouldn't that be discrimination of some sort to kick your ass out because of that? I don't know, but I know dependents have AIDS many times. Like, I don't see how the military is going to kick you out, especially when they allow gays in the military now. And I'm not trying to not AIDS or, gays or anything, but we all know that shit was created to exterminate gays. So I want to thank you all for coming on with me. This means a lot to me. Sorry that Kissa couldn't make it tonight, but she will find a way to chime in with us another time. I got about 3 other interviews that I'm going to come up with over the next 3 to 4 weeks, because I look up to a lot of you in so many ways. Like, you have been there for me at some point in my life that you may not even know it. And that's why I'm reaching out to you to do these things, because you have shown me some little glimmer of hope somewhere, and I never forgot that. And so I'm just taking a tally of it. I'm like, yeah, let's talk about you, because I'm always talking about me. And that shit gets boring. But I want to thank you so much for chiming in with me today. Don't forget to check out our 5-step system to eradicating negative thoughts and manifesting a healed mentality in only 21 days. Anyone that really knows me knows that this shit's no act. I used to be a raging lunatic, and I pray to the one most high God. I pray to every deity that there is, that I do not have to ever go back to that, because the energy it used to take after I would get done screaming, I'd rather just take a nap. I don't get sleep anyway. I need a nap now. But and we also got some new gear up on relaxyourroyalty.com. That's relax, YOURE, royalty.com. Use your 10% discount of royalty, and take a picture. It's free shipping as well. You take a picture in your gear, and I'm going to put you on my website. I built this company for my son, my nieces, and my nephews to have money put away for them for when they get older. At least when they get 25, they'll be able to tap into this. So I'm going to put your pictures up everywhere that I'm going to be, and I'm going to make it so you're going to be famous as hell too, if you don't mind. I love you all, and I pray that you're pleased with yourself, because I love you and I'm pleased with you. Bye.